Welcome to A Double
and
Dice
with your host Kim.
and Jocelyn.
Pour your favorite beverage,
Pull up a comfy chair.
because we are ready to roll.
Welcome to episode Secret 61. We have lots of secrets to tell you today. We're full of secrets. I don't know how much I can say secrets in this episode, but I think we're all recording from a secret location, right, Jocelyn?
Yes, this episode of A Double and Dice is being recorded from many secret locations. I am originating from the West Coast today. I am just outside Vancouver in my sister's basement because I'm on vacation out here, and my sister just had a baby, so I'm taking care of my little niece for a couple of weeks. And where are you recording from? What's your secret location, Kim?
In a faraway place called a basement as well. And we even have a secret guest, don't we?
We do have
sure
a secret
do.
guest. So we would like to introduce you to Jimmy O'Brien from WizKids, who's with us today as our secret guest. And where are you originating from, Jimmy?
A secret location in New Jersey.
Location in New Jersey. Oh, very exciting. So we're super happy to have our secret guest with us today. And Jimmy, why don't Jimmy's our product manager for WizKids. I think I said that already, but I'm very excited about all these secrets we're going to be sharing. And so Jimmy, welcome. And how are things with you?
Well, thank you. I think things are going really well. The team has put in some really secret and special work on upcoming Dice Master stuff. So I think the first big surprise of this year when it came to Dice Masters was the Dark Phoenix Saga OP kit. That we got to have a fun reveal with Steven over at DM Armada, and I don't think people expected that. And that reveal was kind of foreshadowing something that's going to happen in Secret Wars after Kryptonite Crisis, which is we are retiring the old Dice Masters card template. The old layout is gonna ride off into the sunset, and we're gonna have a new card layout that is just taking the next step into the future, really, as far as better graphic design. It's cleaner to read. It does some flattering things for the comic book art that the old frame wasn't accomplishing. We've optimized the cards to organize and draft better, and kind of if you've been watching the arc of the trajectory of WizKids, we've taken a big acquisition focus when it comes to HeroClix, and it's really Dice Master's turn for that trajectory as well. And so the campaign box is going to hit the sunset for a little bit as well. It might come back in some new fashion, but the primary point of entry for Dice Masters is going to be Origin packs. And so we're gonna talk about those a little bit too. We've talked to distributors and a really small group of retailers about this, but what you're hearing today is going to be one of the first times the public really gets to know. And I know you two as big enthusiasts are going to have a lot of the questions that are going to lead me down the path of what the fun details are. So yeah, it's tough because what we're talking about is pretty visual with podcasts. So
but that's okay. It's talking about art on a podcast is no problem, and there will be some visuals that we'll be able to link to in our show notes and things like that will be available for folks to see a little bit later today. If you're listening on the episode release date, you'll be able to take a look at some of the stuff that we're talking about today. And Jimmy and the WizKids folks have very kindly given Kim and I a sneak peek at some of this stuff. And we're super excited, aren't we, Kim?
Oh, yeah. Me being the art person, I love it. I love the new look. So
awesome.
I'm super excited. Yeah.
The new look with the the Dark Phoenix OP kit, the Hellfire Gala, and all that fun stuff. Like, it was really interesting and bold and had changed a lot, and it created a whole, a lot of excitement in the community. We did a whole episode about it. So we talked about it before, and now here we are talking about the Secret Wars redesign. So Jimmy, why is now the right time to redesign? You said you've done some work with HeroClix, and now it's Dice Master's turn.
Yeah, so that's a really interesting question. So Dice Masters is kind of coming out of the wilderness in a way. That there were some big product delays, and those are in the past. We are also just not afraid to try new things after we've kind of seen the benefits of that for HeroClix. And we also really know that it's not just a matter of delivering fresh stuff for the existing fans, but also really trying to help grow the pie of fans and give people a new reason to try something. And it's also kind of expressing a business commitment to our retail and distribution partners that if we're willing to take the time and effort to get our best people making Dice Masters as good as it can be, whether that's the art, the look, the strategy of the product, if we're putting in all those resources, it sends a signal like, this game has legs to it, and we believe in it, and we're going to be making sure there are good things for stores to champion.
That's awesome. And I guess I was thinking about this, like the game released in 2014, right? That was when the first set came out, AVX,
yes.
But it must have been designed like in the year or two leading up to that. So the design is probably close to 10 years old.
Yeah, the design is probably close to 10 years old. Mike and Eric actually pitched Couriers to other companies before they pitched it to to WizKids, and other companies were not interested. And I don't think we're afraid of difficult products, which is the nice thing, right? That it's not just putting cards in a pack. It's not just putting dice in a box. It's like collation of two different things, and then they've got to match up to one another. And then those things go into other packs, and sometimes there's multiple distribution methods for the same items, like how the old starter sets would have the same die that you might get in the booster. And there's a lot of hand painted elements. So all those things put together, even if I think another company might have been interested earlier on, it might not have been attainable. And if it was attainable, I'm not sure they could have done it justice. But I think because of the WizKids experience of doing HeroClix, which is, the stickers on the base, and the base that gets popped into the other component, and the figure is glued to it, and the figure is pre-painted, and there's cards, and Dice Masters is hard, but it's not that hard. So, and Couriers, I think from what people have told me, because it's before my time at WizKids, originally it was pitched as something closer to Dice Masters, and Couriers, I think, was the test balloon. But I don't know if that's something that might have been a little bit warped through how games of telephone kind of work.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
So the cards have been completely redesigned, and some of the things that we've seen in the design, are around the energy types are now being color coded.
Yes.
Right. So there's and Kim, you've got the article up. Can you talk a little bit about the color coding?
Yes. So looks like the color coding's on the top. You have and Jimmy, you can correct me if I go wrong here, but you got orange for bolts.
Yep.
And then you got blue for shields, you got green for fists, purple, purple for for masks, and those are the four for those. And I don't know, if there is a crossover down the road, is there a different color for those, or has that been thought of?
So you'll see that when we get there.
Oh, okay, all right.
Okay? But it's so a little bit of a spoiler, there aren't going to be any of those in Secret Wars.
Okay.
Right. So in terms of doing a visual reset, there's also a little bit of a gameplay and functionality. I don't want to say reset sounds like 2.0, which this is not. The game is going to play the same way, but making sure that cards communicate concepts we want players to learn is something very important to us. And so that's something you're going to see in the Origin Pack gameplay content. that when you think about the key timing windows and phrases that Dice Masters players are going to need to know, like what happens when fielded, what happens when someone attacks, what happens while someone is active. If you basically learn, I guess, and when somebody's KO'd, right? Those 4 timing windows communicate an enormous percentage of all of the possible Dice Masters gameplay effects that we could give characters. And so by getting players really accustomed to seeing those, it's going to make their ability to learn the remainder of the cards very easy. And it's also going to help the things that don't operate in those windows stand out as the exceptions that they really are. You know, you don't know that a certain card is strange unless you've got that baseline that we're communicating through a bunch of the commons and uncommons and origin pack cards.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So maybe we should talk a little bit about the layout again. We're talking about a visual thing on a podcast, but
yeah.
So across the top of the card is this color band,
mm-hmm.
and that includes the energy type image as well.
Yep.
And the cost kind of goes down to the right a bit of the color.
Yeah. So if you were to fan out the cards that you've opened from your draft pack, and you fan them out in so you can see the top of every single card, you're going to see the color band, which communicates the energy type. You're also going to see the energy symbol, which is a helpful reinforcement in case you haven't learned the colors yet. You're going to see the character name and their subtitle.
Right in the banner.
Yep. Right in that top band. And so that is going to communicate the primary player information. And then if you want kind of that secondary level of information, you can fan the cards to see what's on the right-hand side. And so because the energy symbol as well as the color are in the top right corner, you're still going to see that as you fan and see the right-hand side of all the cards. But you're also going to see that character's die and their team affiliations. And then all the way down at the bottom is where you're going to see the number of max dice. So a lot of the crunchier, more technical information is going to be available that way. And then if you fan the cards the other way, just to look at the bottoms, you're going to see the collector number, the set symbol, and the rarity of that character. And so if you're just sorting because maybe you're a shop that does singles, or you're trying to make sure you've put all of your rares away into your binder, there's a quick check to kind of look out for those things.
Now, are the colors the same for the rarities, or have those changed as well in the set? So you had common was gray, uncommon green, rare yellow, super rare red.
So the colors have changed on those. That's a good question. So we'll let people discover that for themselves as they see the preview article and open some packs. But yeah, it's a good look. It's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I should also. I should let you ask more questions because I bet you have more questions before I go to the next thing I'm excited about.
Okay.
We'll get there.
So Jimmy, you talked a little bit about how the new frame really highlights the artwork, and we definitely saw exciting artwork with that Dark Phoenix OP kit. I can't remember what the wording was that you used it, or the language, the phrasing. It was something about pop out, or
I think broken frame was
what
broken
frame.
Used.
Broken frame. And with these images on the new cards, it really looks like the character could jump out of the card and jump onto your mat. That's how it felt to me looking at the comic art.
Absolutely. And so that was really intentional. So there in talking with the design team, some of whom were not involved previously on Dice Masters, about what should it look like. The evocative element of Dice Masters is that you're rolling these dice and then the superheroes come to life and have combat. And whether it's on the packaging now, the draft pack or the origin pack, there's kind of this image of a die that the characters rise up out of in the packaging and some of the marketing materials. And so for us to be able to bring that pop out nature to the cards really felt like a way to make the concept resonate. And so the cards have a lot more dimensionality to them now than they did before, that certain things are definitely in front of other things. And it doesn't just feel like things are elements that are stacked on top of one another, where some have different levels of transparency. And so it's no accident that these characters are popping out, just like you said.
Yeah. And do you know where the designers drew their inspiration from, Jimmy? Like, did they just start fresh, or did they have a base that you can talk about, somewhere they started from?
So our designers have a Pinterest that they use, where it just like when they see something they like, they drop it in. And then over time, it's kind of like, well, what do we want to draw inspiration from on this project? How is this similar or dissimilar from our goals? And so I've looked at that, and it's hundreds and hundreds of images, which, as someone who is kind of the outsider to that process, could almost be overwhelming. But then there's a little bit from here and a little bit from there that they kind of put together and say, yeah, this is what other people were doing well, and this is the best way for us to tell that story.
Awesome. I also noticed in the article that you shared with us in the images that it looks like the actual Dice Masters logo itself was also redesigned.
Yeah, it kind of matches that dice that the characters are rising up out of that I mentioned. And so that's, sorry, when you say Dice Masters logo, I'm picturing the cube of the die that's kind of angled. There's also the word mark for Dice Masters that we've broken it out of what we used to call the Dice Masters pill. And so now it's a stacked word treatment of dice on one line and masters on the second line.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's and the font on the cards has changed as well. And it's definitely, I think, more readable from what we've seen in the past. And I know you and I have talked, and we've chatted before about font and color blindness and all that fun stuff.
You're probably the specialist compared to me on that front. But yes, we've made some big changes in terms of legibility. We think the art is very important, and I'm someone who grew up as a kid with Marvel trading cards, Marvel masterpieces, the Flair cards, and I think that bite-sized wow factor of information is probably what grew me into the superhero and gaming fan that I am today. Right? The first time I picked up Magic the Gathering, it wasn't that I knew how to play the game. It was, there's this great fantasy art on cards, just like the Marvel stuff that I already have, just like the DC stuff that I already have. And so for us to get the chance to kind of toe that line between the exciting art and the pop, but also making sure that it's got that usability component, because this is first and foremost a game. We've hit it with different level of successes over time, but I really think this is the best execution yet.
Yeah, it looks super cool, and I think that the font is more readable, which is really important to me and to lots of folks out there. Readability is important because, some of us are old, Jimmy. So
I'm getting there too. So
yes, we need to be able to read them. Yeah. So how is this art, this new card style, you think, going to work with other IPs like Dungeons and Dragons? Do you think that there be a different card design for something like that, or will it fit into the new sort of concept that you've built?
So I think that some of the elements might look different. So I think that this aesthetic is really modern, and there might be a more fantasy-oriented aesthetic for a brand like Dungeons and Dragons, or if we were to surprise everybody with a different fantasy brand for Dice Masters, I think that we would want to lean into what those fans expect. And if it's not a modern look like this, we would find something different. But in terms of the color band and the layout that we're using, and like where everyone finds the information and the legibility, those would be factors that I would think would remain consistent.
Awesome. That's so exciting. We wouldn't be DM North if we didn't ask if there was any opportunity for new Ninja Turtles in the new art style.
So I think it's one of those things where it's never say never, but right. The lack of announced product is often an indicator. But Turtles is one of those properties where, because NECA continues to have a great licensing relationship with them, we might do something at some point. You know, it might just be a matter of when, but it might also be it doesn't happen. So we'll see. I think one of the other things that's funny, as Dice Masters or any game really gets those longer legs and the increased longevity, it's only a matter of time before somebody who's a fan ends up at one of these companies and we kind of get the reach out. We've had that with HeroClix, where somebody says, "Oh, I'm working on this comic, and if we could get into HeroClix, we'd really love it." And in some cases, it just hasn't made sense. But when somebody's working for like the big companies, we see them sneak HeroClix figures into the background of one of the issues sometimes. So life finds a way.
All right. Well, that is a very politically correct answer, Jimmy, and we appreciate that. Thank you for sharing.
I like that. Life finds a way. Sounds so much like Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Great movie.
There's lots
Jurassic
of things
Park
that we would
Dice
like
Masters
to have.
confirmed 2024.
That'd be awesome. That would be so awesome.
Yeah. So Kim and I have had the opportunity to sort of pour over the information you've shared with us, and I think some other folks will see this as well once the information goes out widely. But I noticed that there is a card called Franklin's Galactus, subtitled No Mercy, and it has 4 character sides.
Yeah. So there's kind of a hidden yarn in this, which is we've part of how we've made room for everything to be the way it is now is that we've reduced some of the informational redundancy on the cards. So as soon as we tell you that somebody is a shield character die, you pretty much know that they've got the first 3 faces are 1 shield and then 2 shields and then 2 shields. So we don't need to put that on every single card, and we can better focus on the 3 stat faces and the die icon that goes to that hero or villain. Franklin's Galactus, though, you can't bring Galactus into your game, whatever game it is, without asking yourself, how do we make him bigger? How do we just make him the biggest darn thing anybody has ever seen? And so we obviously don't want to have just this, enormous die that you're going to be able to cherry pick out of your bag. And so physical size wasn't something that Dice Masters could really do. And there are some, workaround solutions with like a die that doesn't go into your bag. And those were not as appealing as, let's just give them a fourth face. From a rules perspective, this is something that Couriers was able to handle. From a Dice Masters perspective, I think that people are going to really pour over their collections and the cards that exist in the game to discover some interesting combos, because there will be times when spinning a character to level 3 is not what you want to do. You're going to want to spin them to their highest level. Spinning a character up or down is going to be a lot more interesting when he's got all of that runway to change his size. So yeah, it's a really cool die. It's really cool that we get to break one of the assumptions that I think people have had about the game after it's existed for so long, and to break those assumptions within the confines of a set that that resets the look and brings in the beginners at the same time.
And just so everybody knows, his high side is a 3-10-10.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that I want to print something bigger than 3-10-10, right? Like,
well, we essentially have a 0-10-10 today with Godcatcher, but
yeah, that's a token though.
Statue,
I'm trying to think if there was a die back in the Golden Age that I think was 10-10. One.
I think that one of the Yu-Gi-Oh! God cards, right?
I think so. I can't put it. Yeah, but there was one out there from the whole time. So I think.
Yeah. Winged Dragon Ra is 3-8-10.
Yeah, it's got 10 defense, but very, very interesting and really excited about that. So can you share with us, because there are no energy sides on these dice, can you share with us, or do you know if the other energy sides, are they both double energy, or would they be one single energy and a double energy, or would it depend on the character, for example?
I think so. Design is going to do what Design is going to do. My guess is that they're going to be a single and then a double. that way you're able to differentiate between those sides, so you can like spend one of the shields and spin it down to the single shield energy.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. One thing we didn't notice in what we're seeing for the card art, will there be any foil cards in this set? Is foil something considered with this new design?
Yeah, foils are going to continue to be included, and so and this is like the inside baseball, but like the people listening to this probably know some of this. I've talked about there's a foil underprint that makes the cards have that dimensionality, and the pop, and situations like Thor's lightning shines brighter than Mjolnir on the card. And those effects and treatments are still being applied, even though we're going to this new card format, because it's just the production technology. It's not something specific to the old frame.
Awesome. Anything else you want to add on sort of the Secret Wars and the redesign before we jump into our many questions about the Origins pack?
Yeah. So there's two kind of subtle inclusions within the preview images and the article that people are going to see soon, with Colossus and Spider-Man Peter Parker, which is we've cards that are vanilla, kind of like that AVX Ghost Rider. We've just blown away the text box completely. That it's all character, and those are going to be a common or uncommon. They're not going to be something that players have to chase down. It's not a parallel insertion of any kind. And I just think it makes the card look better. It's easier to understand what it does or doesn't do. There are still going to be, though, the textless variants of cards at higher rarities. But those are going to look a little bit different from what we've seen in the past as well. So that's going to be a surprise that we see closer to release date.
Yeah, they do look cool with the full art.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. All right, so Origins pack. So this is something near and dear to my heart, and I know lots of players have been talking about how do you get a new player into the game right now, right? So we used to have starter packs. And then we went to campaign boxes, and then with Infinity Gauntlet going back to draft packs, and Kryptonite Crisis, which is hopefully coming soon, in draft packs. There's not a lot of product out there and ways to get a new player into the game, because you need the sidekicks and the basic action cards and the basic action dice to get in. So that's what Origin Packs looks like it's going to do. So it says right on the package, everything one player needs to get started. So what is everything one player needs to get started, Jimmy?
Yeah, so that's something that we've tried to really streamline as much as possible. So it's going to be a mini playmat. It's going to be the sidekicks and basic action dice, and it's going to be the dice for 2 characters. It's also going to include a quick start rules and a QR code to full rules that are going to live online. And the nice thing is, if we needed to update, change something, tweak something, fix a typo, you name it, like those rules can be a little bit flexible, even though the QR code is going to stay the same. But yeah, these are dense little packs of stuff. We also kind of assume that someone is going to have a dice bag of their own. That is one of the other things that we're able to offer this at a really, really compelling price, because most people don't want to use their AVX Red Tyvek bags like I do, and we know that now. The other thing is, just in terms of the product magnetism, getting to put Spider-Gwen and Baby Groot on the front of the packaging as like it's about this character means a lot to us, and we between the price point and the candy snackable feel of the dice, we think that this is going to get a lot of people who might have passed Dice Masters by on the shelf before to go and say, "Ooh, what's that? How do I get started?"
So Jimmy, you said there's 2 characters in the pack?
Yeah. So I don't have it up in front of me.
So Baby Groot looks like it has Storm.
So it's Storm and Baby Groot in the one, and then it is Spider-Gwen and Spider-Man in the other.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just 2 characters to get people started, and then
Just
the
2
quick
characters
start.
to get people started. Yeah. And the idea is that if you play with one of these kind of to demo the game, or maybe you play 2 head-to-head to demo the game, that kind of matches the demo script that players are used to from the rule books. And then if you want to upgrade this to the full and normal game, literally any draft pack bolted onto the side of this gives you a team. And it's not going to be the same thematic density that players saw in like the Iron Man and War Machine or the Batman starter set, for example. But in terms of just getting off the ground, it's really great. And the prevalence of commons and uncommons on the secondary market is going to make it very easy. If somebody just wants to play the most thematic team possible with some of their favorites, they're going to be able to do that pretty easily.
So it's not randomized then. It's
not randomized.
Packs.
Yes.
And is it 1 card per character, or is it like multiple cards of the 2 characters in there?
It is 1 card per character in an art treatment that's unavailable in the boosters.
Ooh.
So there's a little bit, we're trying to scratch the back of the invested player with this as well. I think that dedicated collectors would be interested in picking these up no matter what, but by offering alternate color sidekick dice and the premium art treatments that are not coming in the boosters for some basic action cards and the character cards, that I think that really pushes it over the line. That at $6.99 you couldn't play an OP event for that. You're not going to be able to pick up probably even a rare that you would need to get for your set on the secondary market. So
that's a pretty good pricing, yeah.
That's amazing.
A ton of value into this. So yeah, we're hoping that the fans are as excited as we are.
Yes.
And you alluded to what my next question was there, which is this is where those colored sidekicks that showed up on the Instagram and the Twitter.
Yeah, we teased those, and then the gears kind of ground to a halt in getting this information all public. But yeah, people were wondering and want to know more. Here it is.
Yeah.
So this is super exciting.
Yeah, I'm happy we've really opened the door to probably the best looking generation of sidekick dice ever. Like I have a special place in my heart for like the gold championship ones that we've done, but the hot pink with black is a really, really tight look.
Yeah, no, they're super awesome. I almost exclusively play with my gold sidekick dice now, Jimmy.
Yeah.
And I got a set of those back at Canadian Nationals in 2019. And they're basically the ones that I play with all the time. They're my favorites. So I love colored sidekicks. I'm really excited. We're going to have official other colored sidekicks. Mm-hmm. We've got yellow, we've got pink, and then hopefully down the line, maybe some purple for our friend Kim here.
Hopefully we got to get some characters like maybe Psylocke into something and get the purple going on.
Yeah. Or like a turquoise. Like I'm a big fan of turquoise. Just putting that out there. So
we're putting those out there for you there, Jimmy.
Somebody pointed out that you could fill a bowl with the pink and black. If you fill a green bowl with the pink and black sidekick dice, you get like a watermelon effect. I was like, oh, that's really good.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Summer vibes for next year.
Yeah. So that's awesome. And then one last question about the origin packs here, Jimmy. So you said that the cards in the pack are going to have a different art treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to be the same as cards that are in the draft packs, or will they be different?
They're going to be the same as cards from the draft packs.
Okay. Same abilities, just different art.
Yep. So if you're just somebody who wants to play competitively and only get what you need, this is going to be something that you can skip, and that's kind of nice for us that we don't have to worry about putting something in that's like too good and then all the spikes go and scoop it up out of stores and people who want to get started just can't find the product.
Right.
Yeah.
No, for sure. And again, we wouldn't be us if we didn't ask, is it max dice per card in the character in the Origins pack, or is it a couple dice per?
No, it's only a few dice because you're going to get the same dice for that character in the draft packs.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yep.
Good stuff. Awesome. So Kim, did you have any other questions about the Origins packs?
No. I'm excited for those too. I'm excited for everything.
A tough critic,
Yeah.
I can tell.
Awesome. No, so we're really excited. And so Secret Wars is tentatively slated based on the solicits for October-ish, I think, Jimmy, right now.
That sounds right to me.
Okay. So does that mean that we might maybe see some of this at Worlds in September?
I would really like for that to happen. I don't want to overpromise things.
Yeah.
You know, shipping is tough, and I don't have all the samples that I would like to have to feel confident about saying we'll see them there in Memphis. But you know, fingers crossed, knock on wood, we're gonna share whatever we can share by then. We're gonna share. So that doesn't just mean physical samples. You know, we do like the fan appreciation events like Origins or Gen Con of the past, but we also plan on doing one at Memphis that the stuff that comes beyond Secret Wars is going to be, you know, on the big screen to share with everybody. So if people can make it and want to really get the first scoop, it's the place to be.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. So we've got Origin packs coming down the pipe, so really easy way, and that MSRP of $6.99 sounds amazing, Jimmy, to get people into the game and teach them how to play. You know, put the draft packs on with that, and then you know, hopefully we'll have a whole new crop of Dice Masters players to help build this game with the new design. This is really exciting. Really, really exciting.
Yeah. Thank you for your enthusiasm. You know, I'm glad I got to come in and do some show and tell today.
Yeah, we're happy to be the first ones to officially release this info. So thanks so much for giving us that opportunity. I did want to ask you just a couple of questions about upcoming events, if that's okay, Jimmy. And
I'll do my best to answer, but yeah, what's up?
So it looks like Gen Con, WizKids is going to be at Gen Con.
That is correct.
And there's going to be a HeroClix Nationals for the U.S. Nationals and some side events. And then for Dice Masters, there's some drafts planned, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. And then it looks like for Worlds in Memphis, there's a plan to do Dice Masters, U.S. Nationals, as well as Worlds during that weekend.
That's correct.
Okay. Are there any plans for other countries to have a Nationals this year, or is the U.S. sort of the main focus as we sort of continue to navigate through the pandemic?
So we're working with a few partners, and we haven't finalized things yet. So I don't want to scoop their announcements, but we're going to try and make sure, even if it's not called Nationals, right? There might be a, you know, so-and-so championship event based on convention or name of store or something like that. And we want to make sure that there's something special going on for our key partners, and we're seeing what that means on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, no, that's fair. It's hard to say, right? Things are still in flux, and at least we know that U.S. Nationals and Worlds will be happening in September.
Yeah, and I know that I think some people were a little concerned when they saw the Gen Con announcements, and it was mostly the smaller events like drafts, and there's going to be some constructed events, but it sounds like they're not posted live on the schedule yet. There's just limited space at Gen Con. And part of that is that we've got other games premiering for the first time, and that we were not the first people in line to begin getting the space at Gen Con. So because of those things all put together, hosting one of the large sprawling championship events like we've done in the past for HeroClix or Dice Masters didn't quite fit. And so we were able to do a modified version of the championship event for HeroClix, but doing the same for Dice Masters really just wasn't in the cards.
Yeah, but there will be some, so it sounds like there will be some interesting stuff at Gen Con. So if you have the opportunity to head to Indy, it's August 4th through 7th this year. And there will be definitely Dice Masters drafts for sure. And as Jimmy's just said, possibly some constructed events. So keep your eye on the prize there. And then we've got the big event in Memphis. And I was lucky enough to attend that in 2019, and it was amazing. So it was great to be there with all of the other players.
I'm glad everybody had a good time in Memphis last time, because most of us had not been there before. Only kind of a few people as part of like the advanced team to kind of scope it out, knew what was going to go on. We're really lucky that Joel, who owns NECA, has an interest in Graceland and Guest House at Graceland, and so we were able to kind of offer packages that were as good as the best musical acts, really, when it came to getting a space in the hotel and doing tours of Graceland and tickets to go tour the Elvis's airplanes and things like that, and like shuttle services and all that to the downtown. So if you've ever considered checking out Memphis and you play one of our games, you should just do both at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. I highly recommend it. That's what Rob and I did back in 2019. We tacked a couple of days onto our trip and we did the tour of Graceland and we explored Memphis and it was fantastic. That was in, I think, August, wasn't it, last time, or was it beginning of September? So hopefully the temperature will be a little better this time. It was really hot.
I think it was September and it was still pretty hot. I don't really have much tolerance for the heat. I'm just gonna like Frosty the Snowman or something.
I was like, where's the air conditioning? Help me out here.
Yeah. No, it was neat. Did you have a favorite place you went in like downtown Memphis?
Yeah, we went to Sun Records and that was super cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we did a tour there and we just kind of explored little pockets and it was great. We had a great time and so anyone who has the opportunity, strongly encourage you, if you're able and willing and comfortable traveling, to head out to Memphis for September 15th to 18th and participate in that event because it was a lot of fun. And I'm sure this year will be no different.
Yeah, no, me too. It's going to be good times.
Okay. And then the last question we have for you, Jimmy, is there any thoughts on rotation for Dice Masters, knowing that we haven't had a lot of sets yet? So we've got, Infinity Gauntlet is out and Kryptonite Crisis is coming soon, I believe. Mm-hmm.
So I think players should expect that there's going to be a rotation that's going to impact Memphis. And, it's just going to be in line with our goals of making sure that there's a manageable number of sets for a player to collect and try to strategize with. But as always, those cards are going to live on in some of the other formats. So if you're focused on Modern and Premium Championship Track, you have a little bit less to get concerned about. You can kind of learn that format first and then branch out into the other stuff.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Kim, did you have anything else?
No, I think that's it I got.
Awesome. And Jimmy, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I mean, just thanks for having me and making the time.
Yeah, thank you so much for working your schedule around my crazy travel to visit my sister and all that fun stuff, and really appreciate it. And thanks so much for coming and again giving us the opportunity to get the scoop out on this. So looking forward to seeing all of our current fans and their reactions, and also what new fans can come out with once this new product starts to come out, hopefully later this year. Wow, Kim, wasn't that amazing?
That was, I kept saying it. It's very exciting.
I know. I feel like we just kept repeating ourselves.
I'm really excited about the card change, like the redesign. I don't know. I'm so stoked for that. So
yeah. Well, I'm so glad that Jimmy was able to come on the podcast today, and thanks again to Jimmy and the WizKids team for sharing this with us and allowing us to be the first to bring you the official news of Secret Wars and the redesign. So like we said, keep an eye out later today on all the socials and such, and we will be making sure to link the information that we've talked about and what we were able to preview, so that you can take a look at it yourself. And we would love to hear what you think about all of this stuff. Like, what are your thoughts on the redesign? What are your thoughts on the new look, the new feel, the new concept, origin packs? Like, so exciting. Like, this is a really easy way. Like, if the MSRP, the manufacturer's suggested retail price, is $6.99.
That's crazy.
That's so easy to get somebody in, even if it is only a couple cards and a basic action. You get the dice and the colored sidekicks. Like, sign me up. So
I know. I really hope they continue that, like, down the road as well, right? Like, every time they release something, you have like an Origins pack that goes along with it.
Yeah.
But even as us being players, I will still pick one of those up. It's because it's something else. There's different colors. It's the same character but different art. You know what I mean? It almost feels like a promo there. Like, you know what I mean? like for us, like who've played, not obviously for newer players, but Yeah, and it was Baby Groot. I didn't even think it was Baby Groot.
Yeah,
I thought it was Groot.
Yeah, I think that the idea of it, the fact that they are making the art in the Origins packs a different treatment, even though the card's the same, gives you that incentive, plus the colored sidekick dice. So an established player, whether you're a collector or not, might still want to pick it up just because of that extra piece. And it's also a handy thing to have. Like if you run a scene, you know, and you're working with your friendly local game store on that, like making sure that you have a couple of those available so that you can just very easily introduce someone to the game.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just, it's something that, you know, has been near and dear to my heart. We've talked about it before. Like we need a way to get players in, like just what we talked about, I think, was basic action dice, basic action color card indicators, and sidekicks. Like that was it. That was the idea. But this is even better because you get all of that plus a couple of characters that are unique, right?
Yeah.
That look different than the rest of them. So anyway, I'm really excited about all of that. And after all that, like what can our dice bag do? It's probably going to be super boring, but
yeah, maybe it might not be as exciting as, you know, or, you know, our Jimmy talk, but we'll try to make it exciting.
Yeah, well, I think we should just, you know, what do you say, Kim? We'll take a couple of minutes to do a little content from the dice bag from the last couple episodes, and then a quick rundown of where things are for online games, because we've already talked about what's coming up in person with Gen Con and Worlds coming up in September. And then, you know, and then maybe we'll call it an episode there. What do you think?
Yeah.
Okay. Dice bag?
Dice bag.
Okay, so episode 60 was our last episode, and we heard back from a couple of folks. So we heard from everyone's fave hero, Donnie, on
the YouTube.
And in episode 60, we talked about, you know, the 2-team takedown meta talk, and we talked about what we, you know, were right about in our guesses and what we were wrong about in our guesses. So Donnie said that the stats that we shared were all interesting, and he never would have guessed some of the things on there, but I guess it shows you what ramp and churn engines work the best. So that was interesting there, because we talked about that, and it wasn't a lot of win conditions in the top 10. It was a lot of support pieces, right? Global abilities and things like that. And we heard similar from our friend Jackalope Span, who sent us a message through the Discord, and he said that when you're doing card analysis, is that win cons are not usually going to be in the top of the list. 2 teams could easily have different win cons, but they will likely use many of the same support cards, which is kind of what we talked about. Clayface being at the top, Clayface Restless, which has the mass global. That takes a die from your use pile and places it in your reserve pool on any energy face. He said it's not shocking, it's a great utility. And he said he was a little surprised to see the Mr. Sinister, which I think is the rare one, Kim, with the sidekick making global.
Yep, too generic. Yep.
But he's also very good too. And he also said that that's why he thinks Thor made the top 5. Thor is probably not a primary win condition for folks, but it has the global that discounts actions, right? So you pay the bolt to discount the next action die you purchase by 2, and that will often be on a Godcatcher team. And he said that in the analysis, there's actually 3 players using a different version of Thor that has the global, so it's not all Thor, Yorgum, and Sphere. So that was interesting.
The super rare one, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. And then we had a little bit of chatter about, I think True Mr. 6 from the Ministry of Dice was surprised that we brought up game theory because he thought it would not be very interesting, but
for a podcast, yeah.
For a podcast, I thought it was really interesting. And a couple of other folks did too. So, you know, Collector Rob reminded us that I did give a warning beforehand when I talked about it, just in case it was not your cup of tea.
Yep.
And Nick said that we do have quite the erudite community. We like the nerdy stuff, which is very, very true.
Yes.
And I think that it was pretty well received. So, we also heard a little bit from Donnie about our previous episode 59. which is the first episode of the Meta Talk. It was before we knew what the answers were. It was our guesses. And he was a little late to the party because he was busy and hadn't gotten around to listening to the episode. But he says that he always enjoys listening to the meta team building, and because in his local area they don't have that many people that play the meta stuff. Every once in a while they do all out, but people don't generally bring the big three, Becky, Thor, or Godcatcher, because they normally get the ban. So he thought that Godcatcher would be pretty high up there because it's already a staple, and that Master Mold will be in the mix because it's the newest exciting thing. And then maybe Super Rare Jubilee that pairs with Thor since it's new as well. So that was good there. There was also a bit of conversation with Donnie about Hope and copying things with Hope. So just to clear that up, and we chatted about it in the YouTube comments, but there was a misunderstanding that Hope could copy anything because of the radicalization global, because you can make a die in X-Man. However, Hope copies the card. So because Hope copies the card, you'd have to have a card that has the X-Men affiliation for Hope Pluripotent Echopraxia to copy it. So right. You do have to stick with cards that have the X-Men affiliation, because the radicalization only provides the affiliation to a die, an active die in your field zone. So something to think about if you're building a Hope team. You do need to stick with an X-Men affiliated character.
That's actually on the card.
Yeah, absolutely. So radicalization is a super cool global though. And I think because it gives somebody, what is it? Brotherhood of Mutants or X-Men?
Yes.
And it's super neat in set because there's some things that do things with X-Men dice, and there's some things that do things with Brotherhood dice, which makes things very interesting and more flexible. So the one that comes to my mind immediately is the common Dark Phoenix, which when you field her, you KO a die. And if that die is an X-Men character die, you deal your opponent 4 damage. So you don't even have to bring an X-Man, or your opponent doesn't have to have an X-Man. You could make a sidekick an X-Man with the radicalization global and then KO it when you field Dark Phoenix and your opponent takes 4 damage. So
yeah, actually that card's pretty good. I kind of miss that card because the radical. Now I can't say it, but you know what I'm talking about, because it deals 3 damage right to an X-Men or Brotherhood, and playing in the 2-team takedown, a lot of people have X-Men teams, right? Especially with Hope.
Yeah. So
it actually is a good card, and actually it's not bad price cost. So.
Yeah, it's a 4. It does 4 damage to a die.
3. Deal 3 damage to target X-Men or Brotherhood character die also, but you have to land it on the double asterisk. KO target sidekick character die.
Oh, you're talking about the radicalization.
Yeah,
action.
Radicalization. Yeah.
Sorry, I was talking about the Dark Phoenix.
Yeah. I went back on the radicalization one, but
all right.
But yeah, you could do extra more if you want, if you had a really heavy X-Men character.
Yeah,
with her and this,
if
you land on the same one, so
stack it all up and do lots of damage. So I like dealing 4 damage to my opponent when I field something. That's always fun.
Yeah, I think I had that Dark Phoenix. That's the uncommon one, right?
No, it's the common.
The common. Okay, I think I have the one that one attacks deal 2 damage.
That's the uncommon.
Yeah, and then when you field her, she does the KO X-Men or something like that.
Yeah, X-Men or Brotherhood, I think.
Yeah.
So anyway, we have strayed from our topic here, and and that was our dice bag. So we do appreciate everyone who took the time to reach out and provide comments about episode 60 and 59, and we fully expect episode 61 that we've just finished recording here to have lots of dice baggy stuff. So we'll make sure to let you know where you can find us right after Kim talks about online events.
Yes, so weekly events, we have Weekly Dice Arena, happens every Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern on dmNorthTV Twitch. We also have on Thursdays at 4 o'clock Eastern, which is run through the Discord, is Dice Fight. So if you join the Dice Masters Discord, everything is run through that channel. Coming up in June 11th is when I think I have it set to, is Dice Social. Since we actually, May did not happen, so we moved the theme over from May into June, so it's going to be the same theme of the Hellfire Gala team build, so that will be happening June 11th. I think that's it.
Awesome. Okay, so we would love to hear from you about all of the things, all of the secret origin-y things that we talked about today. So excited about all of this sort of stuff and what's coming up for Dice Masters. And I really appreciated Jimmy coming on, and I know you did too, Kim, and talking about how, this is designed, not just to make it look modern and fun and interesting to people in store, but also to show stores and players that WizKids is dedicated to this game and seeing it continue, which is amazing. So really excited about that. So we'd love to hear from you, and you can hear from us. You're hearing from us right now. I'm so kerfuffled.
Yep. We're so overly excited.
Yeah, I know. We got to stop saying that word, Kim. I feel like we're having the Hellfire Gala episode all over again. So let us know what you think about any and all of the things that we've chatted about today, any and all the things that you've been able to see on the socials that have come out later today after this episode has dropped. Again, a huge thanks to WizKids for allowing us to be the ones to share this information with you first and in official capacity. And let's leave it there. So you can send us an email at triple-d-podcast@dm-north.com. You can find us on our dm-north website, where you can put a comment on our episode post. As you heard from everyone's fave hero, Donnie, who always comments for us on the YouTube, you can find us at youtube.com/dmNorthTV. We also stream on Twitch, as Kim mentioned, with Weekly Dice Arena on Tuesday nights, but we stream all kinds of stuff there, and you can go over to twitch.tv/dmNorthTV. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook as dmNorthTV, and send us messages and comments and tweets and whatever else it is that you want to send us in those places. And then finally, you can head over to Discord and join our dmNorthTV Discord, where you can join the conversation live in our A Double Double and Dice podcast convo channel. And you can also send us direct messages through Discord. You can @SuperK or @JoceStitch, that's JOCE Stitch. And until next time, on A Double Double and Dice.